on, guys? My name is Agent Psycho, and I'm bringing you guys, I believe it's the 76th chapter now. Yeah, 75th chapter was the M682, as I want to say. Once again, the titles will say everything in relation to the chapter number, but just because I want to check the family number, it should be 75 if I'm not mistaken. Man, I have so many videos I've uploaded since since the M682 reviews that I can't even find them anymore. What the hell? Anyways, I don't really have time to search for that right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and assume it's chapter number 76. If it's not, then just look at the title, and I'll just kick myself in the butt afterwards. So, this is going to be chapter number 76, like I just said, on the M2 Browning. This is the most powerful machine gun that's available in Combat Arms, and the second most powerful primary weapon, aside from the M1 Garand, which I think deals like 55 or some damage or something like that, with the exception of shotguns and sniper rifles. So, without further ado, let's get started on the review. Now, a little bit of background information on the M2 Browning. This is an American weapon. It originated in World War I, apparently. But I think I want to say that its claim to fame really came during during World War II, because I mean, in any case, like nearly every World War II game out there, it features some variant of the Ma Deuce. Like you see it on like the tanks. You see it on like technical. Well, they're not technicals, but you see it on like armored cars, armored vehicles, and stuff like that. So the Ma Deuce is a very classic piece of American weaponry and equipment, and yeah, if you didn't know that before, you now know that the nickname for the M2 Browning is called the Ma Deuce. In case you couldn't make the correlation, it refers to the name itself, the M2 Ma Deuce. There you go. So, anyways, it does fire 50 caliber rounds, which may explain why it's so damn powerful. And yeah, besides that, let's get on with the statistics. So, other than that, it does cost nearly 7k GP for a week, more exactly speaking 6,860 GP for a week, and it is unlocked at the rather high rank requirement of First Lieutenant 3. So, now let's jump into the damage, or the stats, not just damage. Damage is at a 53, which makes this very, very powerful. You're going to be doing a very, very heavy 3-shot kill, like 2 shots, and most of your enemies should be down to like what, less than 10 HP, guaranteed. You can have a chance of you have a relatively high chance of 2-shotting light vesters and medium vesters, or not medium vesters, but what am I saying? Light vesters and recon vesters, because you know they have that armor penalty, so they won't be low damage armor as they would be. So the M2 Browning will be able to do more damage to them. So you will have a slight chance of I would say about maybe 20 to 30% of 2-shotting full HP light vesters straight up to the front. And if you shoot people in the back, I doubt anyone can tank 1 and 2 shots. In the gameplay, you'll see because of my my HP/KDR vision, I was able to look at the HP of my enemies as I shot them in the back, and 1 shot drops them down. It drops medium vesters down to like what, 40, 44 HP, 42, I don't know. So I can safely say that for up to heavy vesters, the M2 Browning will do a straight up 2-shot kill. There's no getting around that. So with the M2 Browning, it's a very good idea if you could somehow position yourself to get in a good flanking position, so you have a clear shot at people's backs when they're not paying attention. Portability is at a very, very measly 10, which is completely understandable because it's a freaking 50 caliber machine gun. No, in fact, in World War II and back in the days when the Ma Deuce was actually used in wars, you couldn't actually carry this thing. Like I mentioned before in the beginning part of this video, it was mostly used as like as a support gun. Like it was used on tanks, it was used on actual vehicles, because a soldier couldn't possibly carry this by himself. I mean, I don't know what the exact weight approximation is on the M2, but it fires 50 caliber rounds, and just by the look of the barrel alone, that's a really long barrel. That's what she said too. But on the Ma Deuce, that easily looks as if it weighs at least 100 pounds. I don't know, I could be exaggerating that, but it's definitely not something a normal soldier, unless said soldier is like uber buff and can like bench like what, some ridiculous amount, I don't think a normal soldier would be able to carry that around. So it's understandable that the portability on the M2 Browning in Combat Arms is at a 10. I believe this is no better. In fact, I think the Legion and the minigun is more portable than this, which makes no sense at all, but whatever. In any case, you're going to be walking very slowly with this gun. Even if you have full speed gear like I do, you're not going to get anywhere very fast. So, yeah, and God help you if you have, like, what, Hauser on you, and you have even more gear that, like, somehow reduces your speed even more. Good luck trying to get around the map with all that stuff weighing you down. So, portability is clearly one of the worst cons of the N2 Browning, and quite honestly, it's the most noticeable of its cons. In fact, I mean, it's not even realistic. It's like, in fact, it's so heavy that Nexon specifically made it so that your third-person character model would hold the M2 Browning differently than they would hold like a normal machine gun. Like they carry it as if they're carrying Legion. Lol. Anyways, the rate of fire is at a very slow 72. Standard rate of fire for most machine guns should be around anywhere from 78 to like 82 or something like that. It's not a very wide range, but the M2 Browning is a very outstanding outlier. Because I mean, it's a Ma Deuce. I mean, if this were to have a rate of fire of like 79, not only would the recoil be like super crazy, but also like it'd be overpowered. Honestly speaking, it would fire way too fast. So there you go. That's why it's at a 72. It doesn't fire as it doesn't fire as fast as say other machine guns, but there you have it. Accuracy is at 57. Not very good because obviously it's a machine gun. And it's a Ma Deuce for crying out loud. And the recoil is at a 74, and that's pretty much the highest recoil of any machine gun out there. In fact, this might actually be the highest recoil, or the weapon with the highest recoil out of anything. Maybe the minigun is able to beat this in terms of higher recoil. I don't know, but yeah, the recoil is really bad. Anyways, gotta adjust my mic a little bit. Needless to say, the recoil kickback and the spread are also equally terrible. The spread is the worst, and I can say that with pretty much a clear guarantee that the spread is pretty much the worst of any machine gun combat arms. I don't know about the kickback so much. Kickback isn't that bad. It's very easy to control, mainly because of the fact that it has a slow rate of fire. So you can kind of control your mouse so that your machine gun will keep firing the way you want it to fire, or the direction you want to fire. It's just the spread and the weight of this machine gun that you really need to worry about. Well, in terms of recoil, I suppose, but yeah. So watch out for the recoil. It's gonna get you really bad if you don't pay attention to it. That variability, that's a machine gun. We can ignore that. Let me check my little list of things I need to talk about. Sprint drawback. Okay, so sprint drawback isn't the bad thing. The really bad thing, in my opinion, the worst con about the M2 Browning, this is just my own opinion, is the draw speed. The draw speed on this thing is really freaking bad. It literally takes you 3 or 4 seconds to bring out the M2 Browning just to be able to fire it. And honestly, personally speaking, I don't agree with that because okay, so the M2 Browning, we understand, it's not meant as a machine gun to be, and you're not supposed to be walking around with it as if like the heavy carry on the minigun in TF2, Normal soldiers aren't supposed to be able to do that. So we get the fact that you gave Nexon, that you gave this thing like the worst portability that any single weapon could have in this game, and in exchange you gave it really high damage, but you also gave it a really bad rate of fire, and also oh my god, you had to go over and fuck up the draw speed for this? Now this means that you can't pull out this machine gun fast enough. Yeah, that's what I do to my girls too, assuming that I had any. But no, the point is that if you have the M2 Browning as say your only weapon, for whatever reason that might be, it's not a very good idea, but in case you are, that means that because of its extremely slow draw speed, you can't afford to get into close range situations without your M2 Browning already out and ready to fire. Because if you're caught without your M2 Browning out and you decide to pull out your Browning, then machine gun, then you're going to die most of the time, unless your enemy, the person who's shooting at you, has an absolutely bad shit aim. You're going to die because the draw speed is just that bad. So that's, in my opinion, that's the worst con that the Ma Deuce has in this game, and that's definitely something you need to watch out for. Always make sure to have the M2 Browning out and ready to fire, because at least even though you're really slow, at the very least you'll be able to fire back. That's what I prefer anyway. It sure beats the hell out of running around like a maniac trying to dodge bullets all day while I'm trying to pull out my M2 Browning that takes like a million freaking years to take out. But anyways, that's just my personal preference. Center speed is really slow. I don't even need to talk about that. Reload speed. The reload speed is surprisingly enough pretty much average. I don't think it's faster than any other machine gun. I don't think it's slower than any other machine gun. It is a belt feed magazine machine gun as well. So I suppose you can say that the reload speed on this is pretty similar to other belt fed machine guns. Though the M2 Browning does have its own pretty unique machine gun like reload animation, but that's neither here or there. Fire modes. It is only available in fully automatic. No surprise. Let's see. Luck. The Ma Deuce is not very lucky, just because of the fact that the recoil spread is just so bad on this thing. So moving right along. Ammo capacity is the same as all other standard machine guns, or most of them anyway. And as for key physical characteristics, you can definitely tell by two major things. First, because of its characteristically really long barrel, and second, by the way that your character holds the machine gun. Like I mentioned before, your character, the 3D character model on you or whoever's holding a Ma Deuce is specifically different than like for example, if you were to be holding any other machine gun like a Mini-Me or a MK48. Your characters, or the third-person character models in Combat Arms, hold the M2 Browning all the same, except for the M2 Browning. I don't know why, but Nexon decided that it was supposed to be the case, and your character thus holds the M2 Browning as if they were holding a Legion or a minigun, like a spec holding a minigun or something like that. Other than that, that should be about it. Muzzle noise, it is a very deep, I don't know how to describe it. It's just a very deep blasting noise. You can definitely tell that it's the M2 Browning firing off in the distance somewhere, if you hear it. Let's see, attachment options, you can only customize its magazine modifications, so other than that, no go. Fireteam Worthy, I would say it's pretty Fireteam Worthy, because even though it's slow as hell, I mean the zombies are slower, and assuming that you can at least outrun them with a little bit of speed gear, the M2 Browning is really good for Fireteam, because it's got a really slow rate of fire, which means you can control your shots better and thus conserve more ammo, and it's really high damage, meaning that you'll be able to take down zombies a little bit faster. So the M2 Browning is one of the best machine guns for Fireteam, I believe, and I definitely recommend that you guys bring it with you to your Cabin Fever or Black Lung games. As for Quarantine, I mean, you can use the M2 Browning because, you know, it's a machine gun and all. It's definitely, any machine gun is really useful in holding off zombies. However, I mean, because of the fact that it's so slow, I mean, is it worth you bring it with you to you know, quarantine with you? I don't know. It's gonna have to be something. It's gonna have to be your call. And as for my frank personal opinions, the M2 Browning is one of the most badass weapons out there. Just let me tell you straight up, it's badass. I can't really explain anything much more than that. It's freaking badass. Though with its badassery comes with what am I trying to say? With its badassery comes a price. And that price is the fact that you will probably suck every single game that you use the M2 Browning. You'll have your moments, but honestly speaking, I don't think you're going to go end up being John Rambo on people's asses and going around dual-wielding M60s and shit. But in case you do, then all power to you. And, yeah. M2 Browning. It's a highly effective machine gun, but there are a lot of problems with it. I'm not saying that it's eclipsed by its cons more than its pros, but I would definitely not recommend it to like a first-time machine gun user, because they pick this up. I mean, sure, they might get lucky and get like a few quick kills because of how powerful the M2 Browning is, and maybe because the bullets that they fire just happen to hit all these enemies all at once. But normally speaking, the M2 Browning isn't necessarily a new friendly machine gun. It's really powerful. Yeah, I know. It's pretty much the most powerful weapon out there, except for shotguns and sniper rifles at close range. But it's definitely not recommended. Definitely not. Definitely not. You got it. If you want to get good with this, you need to practice. You need to. There's no getting around it because it's so slow. It draws really slow, and the recoil is just really, really bad. It's going to take a long time for you to be able to get acclimated to this well enough so that you can actually do like put up high scores in pretty much any game you play. In common arms, that is. So, with my frank personal opinions out of the way, thank you guys for watching. This will conclude the review on the M2 Browning. It is a very good machine gun, and it's a very fun machine gun as well. So I definitely do want you guys to go check it out if you guys are so inclined. But other than that, this will conclude the review on the M2 Browning, and yeah, I'll see you guys later. ゆっくりしてってね。